The vibe, feel that? The bell rung, you already been subscribed. Right now, the queen, she on live. Right now. Please pull over with no phoning when you drive. Dope Soul sporting with the talk. First lady from New York, Brooklyn. All my people, you rocking with the chat. Hit that. The like button would tell me where you at. You know, step from the NBK. Born and raised up NBK. Hey, real lady, where she holding it down. No matter way how you feel, she gon' greet you with a smile.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Dope Soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Dope Soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Dope Soul.
What?
Dope Soul.
What?
Your soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Salute, Knick family. Welcome to the channel, Dope Soul Sports Talk, Dope Soul Knicks Talk, a member of the NBK family. Somebody is really happy this morning, and that be me. The Knicks had what you could consider a signature win last night, right? I think one of the complaints from the fans, and it's a legitimate complaint, was that the Knicks had not beat a really good team. When they did play a really good team, their best player was out. They haven't been great at home. All legitimate concerns, complaints. Last night in Madison Square Garden, the Knicks beat the Cleveland Cavaliers 105-103. Donovan Mitchell was back after a 3-game absence. The Knicks were without Mitch. We started Sims. IQ was back. It was one of those games that, I don't know, was it just a flash in the pan? Was the Knicks just a very desperate team after losing 4 straight? Or is this a prelude of things to come? I hope it's the latter. Let's get into it. Let me just shout out the chat before I do the setup. Deron Wayne, I appreciate you. Greg, Jeff Clafter, Geraldine MacGyver, Tim Smith, Ajay. Shot Powers, salute to you. Jerrell, salute. Paris Duggar, salute. Sean Kearns, salute. He said he's back on the Randle bandwagon, if I read that correct. And shout out to Dwayne Wilson for the super sticker. I appreciate you supporting the channel. And everybody else who's here, hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel. I appreciate you guys as well. All right, let's get into it. All right, so coming into this game, the Knicks were 25-23, 7th in the Eastern Conference, 5-5 over their last 10, having lost 4 straight. We started Brunson, Grimes, Barrett, Randle, and Sims instead of Mitch, who had, surgery on his, I believe it was his right thumb. He'll be reevaluated in a few weeks. Cleveland Cavaliers came into this game 10 games over 500, 29-19, 5th in the Eastern Conference. Also just 5-5 over their last 10, but they won their last game coming into the game. Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Isaac Okoro, Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen started for them. Donovan Mitchell was out the previous 3 games, but he made his appearance this game. All right, get into the individual stats, and then as always, I'll check in with the chat and see what you guys are saying. Randle, 36 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists, 8 3-pointers, shot 52.4% from the field. He was big every quarter. He had 17 points in the first, but in every quarter he scored for us. 5 in the second quarter, 6 in the third quarter, 8 in the fourth quarter. He did not disappoint. Last night he hit every big shot for the Knicks. He got every big rebound, most of the big rebounds for the Knicks. He was battling under the boards, getting a second chance opportunities against the trees. Mobley, I think Mobley is 7 foot, but if not, he's at least 6'10". With Mobley and Allen, Julius Randle was down there banging with them, getting second chance opportunities for us and finishing at the rim. And he shot very well from the free throw line as well, over 80%, 85.7%. He was he was a monster last night. There were times when I thought the game was slipping away from us, right? I didn't think RJ and, Brunson, not that they played terrible, they just weren't as aggressive as I would have liked, them to have been. And maybe that was because they saw Randle cooking. I'm not quite sure. But there was a few times in the game in that fourth quarter where I felt like, I'm not sure we're going to come back from that. And Randall would hit a big shot. That three at the top of the key with 2 minutes left in the game, right? With the seal off by Brunson, who sealed off, I believe it was Jarrett Allen from getting out and contesting that shot. That was a big shot. And let's keep it real. We're not used to Julius Randle being clutch for us, right? I've said it myself. In the waning moments of the game, I would prefer the ball to be in Brunson's hand instead of Randall's. And the stats bear that out. He's not a really good clutch player. But last night, he made all the big plays. No doubt about it. Really happy for him just in terms of how he rebounded from last season. He did have 5 turnovers. Some of them were unforced. Some of them were late at inopportune times. But sometimes he's just getting really hacked, on those double teams. He's getting hacked on these offensive rebounds when he's trying to go back up with the ball. And, he went to the line a fair amount of time last night, but you probably could have doubled that. I mean, that's how much he was getting hit. He came through for us last night, big time. RJ Barrett, 16 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block, was not very efficient from the field, 41.7% from the field. But what's new with RJ Barrett? He did shoot 60% from 3, 75% from the free throw line. I wasn't really happy with RJ's game for the most part, I have to say. And I was actually upset when Tibbs brought him back in, I want to say in the fourth quarter, and took out, I believe it was IQ. I think it was IQ. I was like, on one hand, I understood it. They have Okoro at the 3. You're going to go with a 3-guard lineup of Brunson, Grimes, and IQ. You're giving up some inches there. You're giving up some rebounding there, some size. But those guys, as far as their perimeter defense, are really good. Then he comes in and he gives up, the foul to Garland, which should not have been a continuation, in my opinion, and then shoots an air ball on the next possession. So I was not very happy with RJ Barrett. However, down the stretch, I thought he had 2 really good defensive possessions on Donovan Mitchell, and he did grab the game-sealing rebound of the game. All right, Brunson, 14 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, only 1 turnover. I don't know what's going on with Brunson. He doesn't look, the same to me. Shout out to Tony Crow, who agreed that he doesn't look the same, but maybe it's because, the Eastern Conference is on to him. They've seen him enough. You're playing teams by this late in the season 2 times, maybe 3 times already. They know who he is. They know how to defend him, and he has to make, that adjustment. Maybe that's what it is. But I've seen Brunson score against faster guys, taller guys, more physical guys. So I'm not sure. Maybe he's fatigued. Maybe he's decided, or the team has decided, that he's just going to get his shots within the flow of the offense. I'm not sure what it is, but Brunson just doesn't look the same to me. And iHeart. Let's talk about iHeart. 4 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. But the stats really don't tell the story for Hartenstein last night. He didn't start. Sims started, but he played the entire fourth quarter. And I think that was a good adjustment by Tibbs. Sims, bless his heart, he played hard, but he was just undersized. With Mobley, with Allen, he was just undersized, and they was just getting whatever they wanted. They killed us points in the paint. Jarrett Allen had his season high last night, and part of that was Mitch not being in there, but the other part of it was just not having any size, whatsoever. Hartenstein, let me see. You know, he was mentioned in a trade rumor earlier that day. I don't know if he read it, but there was a trade rumor that the Clippers, his old team we played for last season, was interested in having him back. He played well for them. He had a 20% assist rate for them. I think with the Knicks, he has like a 5% assist rate. The Knicks are just using him differently, right? So I don't know if he read that and he said, you know what? Hold my beer. You know, if I get the minutes tonight, I'm going to show my value to the team. And I hope this is a prelude of of things to come. Shout out to John Macri for Knicks Film School, who kind of outlined his last 12 minutes. So I didn't have to go back and look at the film and do so. He has 6 rebounds in this fourth quarter, including 2 on the offensive glass. He had a putback dunk. He assisted on 3 straight baskets. He had a huge block that came before the last play where Julius Randle was on an island out there with Donovan Mitchell, played him well, in my opinion. Donovan Mitchell has unlimited range, so he could have pulled up. He was about 5 feet off the 3-point line. He could have pulled up if he wanted to, but Randle was out there playing him, and he decided to drive. And who rotates over, put their hands up, doesn't foul? iHeart. When I went to the open practice, they practiced that drill. When somebody is driving, how do you rotate over and just put your hands up? And he did that last night. His length, his energy, his rebound, he had 4 assists. And this is what you can get from iHeart, that playmaking. He was able to hit, McBride backdoor, for the layup. Some things just don't show up in the box score, and that was iHeart last night. That's been Mitch for us, and that's been Grimes for us. There's a lot of things that they do that don't show up in the box score. So kudos for him. I'll get back to Cleveland, but I want to shout out some more Knicks. I thought the bench played great last night. Obi Toppin, 10 minutes. Obi Toppin only played 10 minutes. He had 11 points and 3 rebounds. Hit 2 3-pointers, was 4 for 6 from the field. Talk about making the most of your minutes. That second team, and Obi Toppin was a part of that in the early fourth quarter. When they came in, the Knicks had a 5-point lead. They pushed it to 10. That's how well they played. So kudos to Obi Toppin, who whatever minutes he's going to get, he's out there making an impact on the team. McBride had 3 assists, but he also had 3 turnovers, in 12 minutes. But, McBride is McBride. For the most part, he played well. Quickly, 27 minutes. What can you say about Quick? I am so happy for him. Him and Randle is going neck and neck in terms of a turnaround season, just in terms of his decision-making, playing within the flow of the game, stop jacking up shots that we don't need, missing people that's open, over dribbling the ball. Quickly, in my opinion, has been playing lights out. Last night, he had 9 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 steal, did have 2 turnovers, shot 50% from the field, 50% from the 3-point line, went to the foul line only once, and missed it. I thought he played well. Am I missing someone? Grimes, 10 points, 3 assists, 1 rebound, 4 of 9 from the field, only 2 of 7 from 3. But in that third quarter, he had 8 points. Him and Randle paced the Knicks in the third quarter with 8 points. And in last night's game, every point counted. And he showed up big for us in that third quarter. I'm just going to go over Cleveland really quick, and then I will get to the chat. Mitchell, 24 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, 4 steals, 1 block, 6 3-pointers. And a lot of that damage came in the second half. I think he had 9 points in the first half. And kudos to Grimes for the defense that he played on Mitchell. People have pointed out that Grimes' defense has been slipping, but I think that's just the entire Knicks defense was slipping, right? But Grimes was so sharp defensively last night. He wasn't going for any of the head fakes. He was staying down. He was locked in defensively. I thought he was great defensively. Allen, 24 points, 12 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 blocks, 21 points was his season high. A lot of that had to do with Mitch not being in there. A lot of that had to do with Sims being undersized. You know, they was just getting the rebounds. You know, in all fairness, Garland did a really good job of getting into the key because at times our perimeter defense wasn't great. Sims would have to, come over, rotate over as you're supposed to do to stop the drive. And then he would just wrap around the pass to the big. So in all fairness, some of it, was that. Mobley, 12.7 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks. The Knicks shot very well last night, 49.3% from the field, 51.5% from 3, and again, did not shoot well from the line. It didn't come back to bite them. 66.7%. They went to the line 21 times, made 14 of them. Cleveland shot pretty well, as also 46% from the field, 36.4% from 3. They also did not shoot well from the free throw line. So maybe that helped the Knicks as well. They shot 68.8% from the free throw line. They were 11 for 16. All right, let me check in with the chat before I get to the team stats. Deron Wayne, nice win. Randle and iHeart were balling. iHeart, best game of the year. Hope this is a start for him. So do I. Salute Angel Torres. Jeff Clafter, best win of the season. Yeah, I agree. It was legitimate when the fans were saying, for me, just win. If a team has, players out, just win the game. Beat the teams you're supposed to beat. And the Knicks have been doing that for the most part. But this was a quality win against a team that their starters were there. They wanted to win the game. They're in the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference. They're a very good team. We needed that. We did. Shout out to Geraldine MacGyver. I appreciate you. Sean Kearns, I appreciate you. Pudge Nice. Of course, Jeff Clafter. Maybe Randall's best game as a Knick. I would have to look back, but, I think in 2 years ago in his all NBA season, he was pretty good in the clutch, as well. But last night on this particular team, given the situation, we lost 4 straight with these tough teams coming up. Yeah, I may have to agree with that. Sean Kearns, Julius was definitely zoned in last night from the beginning. And there are times where he'll have a good first quarter. And in the fourth quarter, maybe because it's Brunson's time, he doesn't really do much. Last night, he was, he was on it. Paris Duggar, I'm sorry if I have to choose. I'm taking quickly over RJ in big moments, both sides of the ball. Can't disagree with that. Salute Sharice Duncan. Good win last night for sure. All right. All right. Ajay, we weren't at full strength, but we beat a top team at full strength. Where are the people downplaying our wins? I think for the fans who were downplaying the wins, I guess you could say there was some legitimacy to it. For me, I didn't take anything away from the Knicks win. This happens all over the league. You're supposed to beat the teams that are not as good as you or that are not at full strength. That's what you're supposed to do. And the Knicks, were doing that. So I didn't take anything away from the Knicks, but it is good to see, that you can beat, a top 5 team. Listen, on any given night, maybe if you play Cleveland 7 games, you lose that series. But we're talking 1 game. Anybody can beat anybody else in 1 game. All right. Let's get to the team stats. 25 assists. So the Knicks are not only sharing the ball, people are hitting shots, right? In order to get an assist, you have to hit the shot. So 25 assists. I think last game they had 27 assists. The game before that, they had 30 assists. The ball is moving. 15 turnovers. 15 turnovers. The Knicks turnovers has been a little high late, and some of those turnovers were unforced. Somebody fell out of bounds. Somebody just threw it out of bounds. It looked like some of those turnovers were just unforced. Like I said earlier, the Knicks shot well. Points in the paint, 52-38. I mean, I don't know if you can expect to win the points in the paint with Mobley and Allen playing the way they played last night, with Mitch not being there. So it was just easy opportunities for them. I think, let me see if I have this. Allen was 12 of 17 last night. All of his points, all 24 of his points were in the paint. He might have went to the line a few times, but for the most part, every field goal that he made was in the paint. RJ and Brunson, there wasn't a lot of room in the paint for them, right? That they like to drive and take shots in the paint. RJ got his shot swatted twice. That was the end of that. I don't even think he drove in that much. I think one time he did drive, stop short, and put up a floater. I would like to see him do that more often, especially against taller guys, taller players. So, they're big. That means they can score in the paint. They're big, they're long, they're shot blockers. They keep you out of the paint. So the Knicks were negative 14 as far as points in the paint. Second chance points, though, 19-8. Randle was all over the offensive board. So was iHeart, But in terms of converting those offensive rebounds into second chance points, that was Randle. He was in there with the big boys all night long. Really happy for him. Fast break points 17-7. The Knicks are just really not good in transition, and they're really not good defending off of a turnover. They're just not. Bench points 27-12. The bench is slowly coming along. IQ only had 9 of those, right? Which means that our bench had 18 points, right? So altogether, the bench scored, let me see if I have it here. Yeah, 27 points, 18 rebounds, 13 assists, 2 steals, 4 turnovers. That was the bench last night, right? So the bench is coming around. And that's going to keep the Knicks minutes low. I'll check in with the chat, in a minute. That's going to keep the Knicks starters minutes down. Nobody played over 38 minutes last night. Why is that? Part of it is the bench is showing up. You can't play guys 35, 36 minutes, put in the bench so they can get a rest. Rest for what? So you can go from being up 5, down 10, or being down 5 to down 15. In order to get guys rest, those who are coming in for them have to hold the fort. Now, they may not cut into the lead. They may not extend the lead, but don't give it up. Just hold the fort. And that's what the Knicks defense bench did last night. Actually, they did more than that. When they came in the fourth quarter, the Knicks were up 5. The Knicks went up 10, I believe even 11. I think 11. I think Randle was back by then. But they pushed that lead to 10. That's what you want from your bench. Good minutes. Do what you can. Obi Toppin, 11 points in 10 minutes. iHeart, all over the place. Right? IQ, playing as usual, good minutes as of late. I thought the bench played extremely well. Okay. So, all right, let me just check in with the chat real quick, and then I'll get to Pudge Nice. iHeart getting traded back to Clippers. Don't need him. I don't agree with that, but I do agree that we need him to play better. Anagro 1, salute to iHeart playing clutch defense. Good to see. Kerry Cox, I'm still signing Dwight Howard to several 10-day contracts and trading for DeRozan and Caruso. No matter who played well or didn't, this was a quality win. Yes, it was. Kerry Cox. Obi had a decent game. Got to give credit where it's due. Yeah, he did. I thought he played well. Deron White, Boston has injury issues. Yeah, Jaylen Brown didn't play the last game. I'm not sure if anyone knows if he'll play, against the Knicks, it might be a game time decision. I don't know if it was rest, if it was injury. I'm not sure. Geraldine MacGyver, if need be, we can sign Cousins to a couple of 10-day contracts until Mitch comes back. The only issue with Cousins is that he's not a defensive player and he's undersized as well, at 6'10". But as far as scoring, historically, he's a good scorer. Where he is now, I have no idea. Pudge Nice, trade for Bay to back up Randle, move Obi to small forward. Not sure Obi can defend small forwards. I like Bay. I do like Sadiq Bey. Not sure he's on the trade. Not sure he's on the trade market, though. All right. So just back to, we talked about the bench. If they continue to play well, we can continue to hold the starters' minutes to 38 points to below. We have a hard schedule coming up. So if we can get bench scoring, that's going to help us tremendously. Mitch is not going to be back till probably after the All-Star break. So if we can get some good bench scoring, we're going to be, I don't know if we're going to be fine, but it's going to help. I like the way the bench is shaping up. McBride, Quickly, RJ, Obi, iHeart. The Knicks have been looking at a lot of 6'4" players, and I know some of us, including myself, were saying, why do we need another 6'4" guard? And I think if we were to get a 6'4" guard, I think they would replace McBride in the second unit. And I think it would be IQ and whoever that 6'4" guard is, whether that's Gary Trent Jr., which I doubt, whether that's Grayson Allen, whether that's Malik Beasley, whatever guards they're looking at to help that second unit would play alongside IQ. And hopefully the Knicks are not looking at anybody who can't play defense. Two-way players, please. All right. So the upcoming schedule is pretty tough. The next 3 games are on national TV. I'll talk a little bit more about that. But we play Boston, we play Brooklyn, and we play the Lakers. All 3 of those on national TV. I believe all 3 of them are on ESPN. They will not be televised on MSG. So for those of us who have access to MSG, it's not like we can choose between the national broadcast and MSG. We have to watch the national broadcast if we want the game. My preference is to watch MSG. When there's a choice, there's no choice here. Hopefully we'll get Doris Berg. Hopefully we'll get Mike Breen. Hopefully, I haven't heard from Mark Jackson. Is he still, does he still have a job? I haven't heard from Mark Jackson, but I haven't been watching a lot of national televised games. So that could be it. Hopefully we'll get a Jeff Van Gundy, somebody like that who are kind of plugged into the Knicks. They're not talking about the same old narratives from years past. Hopefully we'll get Breen and Burke. We'll see. And not Reggie Miller or the other guy who used to play for the Brooklyn Nets. We'll see. Anyway, the point is, I'm looking forward to these games because I'm looking forward to see, one, how do we as a team match up to these guys, to these teams? Even if we lose, it gives the front office visual context for what this team needs going forward, right? I'm also looking forward to these games because you really get to see how individual players play against tough teams. That's what I want to see, right? It's easy to play well against a team where there's no resistance. They don't play good defense. They don't have a good offense. You can get anything you want. But which of our players can play against really good teams back to back to back? Because that's what's happening with the Knicks. Every game is a good team. I don't think the Lakers, are a good team, but they have LeBron James, right? All right. Who shows up? Can Randle play consistently against good teams? I'm not really looking at Randle. I think he's proven that he can do that. Brunson, RJ Barrett, IQ, Grimes. Who can play well against really good teams game in and game out? Who's shrinking because the lights are bright and the games are tough? So I'm looking forward to that. I'm not sure how we're going to do, but I think if we win just 4 games, I think I get Knicks Film School newsletter pretty much every morning. Shout out to Jonathan Macri for that. And I think he pointed out that if the Knicks win just 4 more games heading into the All-Star break, they'll be at 500. And then Mitch will be back, hopefully, after the All-Star break. So I'm looking forward to these games. Kenny Payne, Tibbs won't elevate Grayson to the starting lineup. Yeah, I agree with that. Jay Boogie, good morning, chat. Blessings, health, happiness. 3 games behind Cleveland. They got Spider, 3 All-Stars. We right here. But we got more work to do. Remember, crawl, walk, tricycle, big wheel, bike, car. Yeah, I appreciate you. Stay tuned later on. We're gonna play another one of Jay Boogie's songs that I believe has been played here before. All Eyes on Us. Ashley Inc. 1, appreciate you, Wiz. Facts, playing healthy top level teams is a true measure of where we are as a team. And Ashley Inc., as I just added, I'm also looking at individual players, and listen, if a young player doesn't do well over this stretch, I'm not going to kill him. You have to grow into that. But I'm particularly looking at Randle, RJ, and Brunson. How do they play over this stretch against these really good top level teams? As a team, you may not be good enough to beat them, but I'm just wondering how these guys are going to play. Deron Wayne, thank you. Thank you for the suggestion. Turn the sound off and listen to Knicks radio broadcast. I might do that. Kareem Grant, good morning. Good morning, brother. How are you? Kerry Cox, get DeRozan to play small forward. Put RJ back at shooting guard. Grimes makes the second unit stronger. I do think Grimes makes the second unit stronger. I would just like to have somebody else in that starting lineup that doesn't command the ball. Because I think there's going to be somebody between DeRozan, RJ, Randle, Brunson. There's going to be somebody who's going to have to take a back seat. And you're not going to get everything you can get from them because there's only so many balls that can go around in that first quarter. Pudge Nice, OG is still being monitored. Listen, I heard 3 first-round picks. I'm not giving up 3 first-round picks for OG Anunoby. I'm not giving up anything, compensation that's going to take me out of the running for a star. OG is a really good piece. He does have the injury history. So Toronto, stop putting him out there asking for these trade packages as if he's been healthy his entire career. He hasn't been. So you got to take something off of that, in my opinion. Right? I think he would help us. He's a two-way player. I think he's averaging 17 points per game, but he's not somebody that's going to go out and get his own shot. He's a two-way player. We need that. But 3 first-round picks? Nah, I'm saving 3 first-round picks for a star, not for OG Anunoby. And I'm a big fan of OG, not at that price. The price has to be right. OG Anunoby should have been traded for at the start. I know, Kerry Cox. You was on that before the season even started. Pudge Nice, Cousins is he on the Lakers? I don't think so, unless they made a move, in the last day, or so. I am Jerrell. I am Jerrell. Shout out to Jerrell, resident panelist. Dope Soul Sports Talk, our weekly show, and then also Knicks Giants live podcast. I think I got that right. If you haven't already, if you're a Giant fan, even if you're not a Giant fan and you want to support the panelist, the link to his show is in the description. Giants lost to Philly. It was a tough one, but nobody expected the Giants to be in the playoffs. So I'm good with the Giant season, upward and onward. Facts, OG is always hurt. Wow, they just announced OG wants out. Is that true? Sean Kurz doesn't think he pushes the needle. I mean, I think if you're thinking a star that's going to get us over the top, no. We need a star on this team. But if you're building this team piece by piece, step by step, yeah, I think we're a better team with OG Anunoby. No doubt about it. We're a better team with OG on here. Let me just block. Oh, I didn't mean to highlight that at all. All right. Ajay, if they want Cam D Rose, nah, I'm not. Listen, you're not giving scraps for OG, even given his injury history. Cam, what are they going to do with D Rose? What is that defensive minded team where every player is a two-way player? What are they going to do with Evan? What are they going to do with second round picks? Nah. I'm not going to give up a lot. I'm not going to give up 3 first-round picks for OG, but I'm not going to send them scraps either and expect that that's going to get it done. It's not. Ashley Inc. 1, Josh Richardson may be a cheap pick. Yep, I agree with that. For Mark Jackson, we hope everything is good with you. Not saying something is wrong. So is it just me, or he hasn't been around? Fournier and Obi got the same really? I don't think so. I think Obi is still on his rookie contract. Fournier is making 17 or 18 million, 18 or 17 million. Evan and 2 said, nah, that's not happening. Listen, if you're giving up players, you got to say, how does this fit on the other team? Would they want that? If you had OG Anunoby, would you give him up for Evan Fournier and 2 second-round draft picks? Negative. You're not doing that. All right. So our next 3 games are on national TV. I think the Knicks have an opportunity to change the narrative a little bit, right? I think the Knicks have changed over the past 2-3 seasons with the new front office. They're not the same old Knicks. But when you hear media personalities, people talk about the Knicks, the casual fan, they still running the same narratives for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago, right? The Knicks have 3 national televised games. Hopefully, it's with Mike Breen and Doris Burke, who are a bit more plugged into who the Knicks are right now, especially Mike Breen, right? That we could talk about who the Knicks are now, whether they're struggling or not struggling, whether they're inconsistent or not, that's fine. That's who the Knicks are right now. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about Randle's bounce back season. Hopefully we get to hear about that. Let's talk about Brunson's impact on the team. Hopefully we get to hear about that. Let's talk about our top 3 players, RJ, Brunson, Randle, and how they've been carrying this team for the most part, for all of the season, actually. Let's hear about that. I don't want to hear anything historically about the Knicks. Talk about the Knicks for the past few years. So if they do that, hopefully those who are watching, the casual fans, will get an opportunity to hear about who the Knicks are now. I don't want to hear about blown draft picks in the past. I want to talk about the draft picks who are in the rotation, who are helping us. Sims, McBride, Grimes, recent draft picks, who are helping us. That's what I want to hear about in these next 3 nationally televised games. ESPN, I need you to get it right. I need you to get it right. All right. Jeff Clafter, I think RJ and Obi plus picks is going to be the package for the star. Yeah, and I think for that to happen, it's going to have to happen in the offseason. I think RJ Barrett's poison pill contract, which they call it a poison pill contract. I think after July you can trade, you could trade him. I think it's harder now because the Knicks, the team that's accepting him, they have to account for not just the 10 point something million he's making now. They have to take in the value of his new contract. And the Knicks can only take back 10.8 million, which is his current contract. So that makes it hard to trade unless you're trading with a team who has cap space. Unless you have cap space, it's going to be hard to do that, right? I think after July, then it's even. So if that does happen, it'll probably be in the off season. ESPN hears everything, Knicks. Hates or hears. I think hates everything Knicks. Good luck with them getting it right. Kuzma wants the back. I think they're keeping Kuzma. I think part of them getting off of Rui Hachimura had to do with them having the money to sign Kuzma. I think Rui was up for a contract extension. I think the contract talks had fell off. They weren't able to come to an agreement. I think they're gonna keep Carl Kuzma. And I remember him, I think it was Hoops Hype was asking him questions about it. What does it feel like to be wanted by a team? It looks like you're going to return. And he talked about how it felt good. So I don't think, unless something changes, I don't think Kuzma is on the trade block. Yeah, Jerrell, to my point, Wizards just traded his backup. So I guess Kuzma is completely off the table. Anagro 1, good point. OG isn't going to be traded to a division rival unless Toronto is blowing it up. And I think it's going to cost you more. If they're going to trade to a division, that's a very good point. You're going to have to pay a tax. You're going to have to pay a tax on that. How? Because you're going to play somebody, trade them to somebody in your division, and that's going to come back to bite you. You're going to have to play this guy 4 or 5 times a season, maybe even in the playoffs as the, down the line, years to come. I don't think that's something you want to do. So that's a very good point. Jeff Clafter, I agree. Narrative won't change unless we win. Fair or not. I mean, listen, the overall narrative, fine. What I'm saying is just talk about where we are now over the past few seasons. I don't want to hear about 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I don't want to hear about that. There's enough, there's enough to talk about with this current front office, positive and negative. So I'm not saying I want it to be all negative. All I'm just saying is just focus on where we've been as of late. Paris Dugma, Kuzma is the piece. Him and Alex Caruso would put us over the top. Listen, I don't think anybody but a star is putting us over the top. You need somebody down the stretch that can get you a bucket. Randle did that last night, but historically, that hasn't been Randle, right? Brunson has done that for the most of the season. Lately, that hasn't been Brunson, right? Look at Donovan Mitchell. He had 9 points in the first half. It means absolutely nothing because in crunch time, those guys come alive. You know what I mean? So I think Kuzma would be a good piece. I think Alex Caruso would be a good piece. But by over the top, you mean in championship contention? I don't know. I still think we need a star. Sean, we are better with OG if he can stay healthy. I definitely agree with that. All right, let's talk about trade deadline. We've talked about the trade deadlines. I haven't heard anything new. Obviously the Lakers trading for Rui Hachimura. That means it would seem to me that they are out of the running for Cam Reddish, right? The Knicks have until February 9th. You do not want to not trade Cam Reddish. And I think other teams know that. He's a restricted free agent. The Knicks are not going to re-sign him. So if you're an opposing front office, are you giving up a lot for somebody that you know is going into free agency? That you know the Knicks have to move because they don't want to lose him for nothing? Opposing teams know that. So I don't think we're going to get a lot for Cam Reddish just given his contract situation. However, if the Knicks can get a rotation player for Cam, kudos for them. To me, this front office has been 50-50. If you get a rotation piece for Cam Reddish, that's you get another point in my book. Cam going to the Mavs, Bucks, or Miami. I hope you're right. Jeff Clafton, we need a bona fide superstar, a true number one. Yeah. ESPN going to talk about Jared Jeffries winning a car on The Price is Right. Ah. Oh, Nelly. David L., appreciate you for rocking with us this morning. Grayson, $6 million guy, solid starter that makes guys like Trent struggle. What you be watching, you act like you never seen the Bucks. Okay, that must have been something that was going on in the chat. Listen, if you can get a rotate, because Grayson Allen would be in our rotation. Cam is not in the rotation. If you could trade somebody who's not in the rotation for someone who's going to play, I'm all for it. Kuzma has the player option that he's not exercising, so he may want to test free agency. He can force, yeah, he can do all of that. I agree with that, but I'm just telling you the interview that he did on Hoops Hype. Now, obviously, things can change over time, but he's pretty happy in Washington. So things can change over time. The Knicks don't have any money in free agency, so the only way for the Knicks to get Kyle Kuzma is a sign and trade. The Knicks are over the cap. Steph, who do you think we will trade for? I think we're gonna get, a Grayson Allen, a Malik Beasley, whoever we can get for Cam Reddish. I'm not even sure that's going to be a player. If we come back with 2 second-round picks, that doesn't help us as far as our rotation is concerned. I don't think we're going to get OG Anunoby. I don't think they're parting ways with Gary Trent Jr. I heard on Utah, everyone is available except Lauri Markkanen and Kessler, their center, who's playing very well for them. Double guy, block shots, pretty good footwork for somebody his size. Do you want Jordan Clarkson? You got to deal with Danny Ainge. How much you're gonna have to give up, to get a Clarkson? Do you want a Conley? He's an older guy, he's experienced. Can he play 12, 14, 16 minutes behind Brunson? I think he can. Do you want a Conley? I haven't heard the Knicks linked to Conley. Have champion. Yeah, they do. They have champions. Paris Duggar. Have you been watching the top 5 guys in this league? Right? So how are you getting Kuzma without giving up one of your top 6 players? Right? I think Kuzma improves us as a team. That's not what I'm saying. I don't think Kuzma is the move that makes us championship contenders. I like OG Anunoby. That's not the move that's going to make us championship contenders. We need a number 1. Kuzma is not a number 1. He's just not. I'm not saying he's not going to help us. He will help us. Will we be a better team? Yes, we will. Will we be a championship contender? I don't know about that. I don't know if we're going to be a championship contender without that guy you can go to down the stretch. Brunson was that guy for us throughout the season. Lately, he hasn't been looking like that guy that can take over a game down the stretch, right? Again, I said this a little earlier. Randle did it last night. Is he somebody you're going to count on down the stretch when you need a bucket? Boston, just throw the ball into Tatum. Brooklyn, throw that ball into KD. Let him rock. Let him, lead the offense down, down the stretch. Puts a lot of pressure on your offense. On your defense. Philly, throw the ball into Embiid. Who else is up there? Cleveland, throw the ball to Donovan Mitchell down the stretch. Who else? I'm missing somebody in the top 5. Milwaukee, give the ball to Giannis. Those guys, not 100% of the time, but they will consistently come through in the clutch. That's what you need to be a championship contender. You're not passing the ball to Kuzma down the stretch of a game. You're not passing the ball to Randle. I thought you could pass the ball to Brunson. Maybe he's tired. I'm not sure. Maybe they're playing him different, taking the ball out of his hands. I'm not sure. Not seeing that right now with Brunson. Evan only has 1 guaranteed year left. Team option after next season. Yeah. Keyshawn, I trade for Jaden McDaniels or Darius Baisley. Youth, lengthy players with upside. Yeah, I really like Jaden McDaniels. for sure. Pudge Nice, Knicks only making minor moves for a playoff run. I would agree with that unless a big fish comes loose. You got to go for it. You can't be like, oh, it's going to mess up our chemistry, so we can't trade for Giannis. You know, he's just coming free at an inopportune time. No, you got to go for it. You got to take the chemistry hit. And next season you'll be better. But I don't think any of those guys are coming free at the deadline, Pudge Nice. So I agree with you. I think it's only going to be minor moves. Paris Duggar thinks Donovan is 100% coming here in free agency. Okay, that's why you trade for Kuzma. You know, I hear you. I gotta let me. Can I do it here? I can't do it here. I'm trying to give some people the All right, I will figure it out. There used to be something you could put here so that somebody in the chat can, let me see. You got to do it. You got to do it here. Okay, so Pudge Nice, Paris Duggar, just adding some moderators. I know everybody is not here for every show because sometimes I can't really keep an eye on it. All right, I'll do some more of it at the end of the show. All right, in the Eastern Conference right now, the Knicks are in 7th place, 1 game behind Miami, who's in 6th place, a game and ahead of Atlanta, who's in the 7th place. And as we just talked about, the Knicks have one of the top 2 toughest, I think the second toughest remaining schedule, right? It's going to be really tough, for the Knicks to finish 6-7. It's going to be tough. And remember, 7 through 10 is the play-in. Okay? As far as our next game, we play Boston Thursday. Boston is 35-14, first in the Eastern Conference, 8-2 over their last 10. At one point, they had won 9 straight. They've lost their last 2 games. They have some injury concerns. They will be ready for the Knicks. This is a division rival. These are always tough games. All right, they're 3rd in offensive rating. They're 5th in defensive rating. They're 1st in net rating. I mean, we've played them earlier. We lost. This is just a tough team. A tough team. Now, last game, they started Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, Jason Tatum, Grant Williams, Robin Williams III. Jaylen Brown was out. I'm not sure if he's playing tomorrow. But even without Jaylen Brown, it's going to be tough for the Knicks, right? I would assume we're going to start Brunson, Grimes, Barrett, Randle. I'm not sure if Sims will continue to start or if Ihart will continue to start. Robin Williams is not that tall, so I don't think he's going to give Sims the problems that Mobley and Jared Allen gave him. So Sims may start tomorrow. All right. Thursday, MBK pregame show. I may or may not be there. I know the show kind of roams around, but Thursday, nothing but Knicks. Simeon Russell, shout out to you. Sim, forever grateful, does a pregame show before every game, unless there's an emergency, right? So Thursday, I'm sure he'll be breaking down the Boston game. So if you're subscribed to that channel and you have the notification button hit, you'll be notified of the time. Friday morning, I'll be back here for the morning recap show of the Boston game. And Friday night, because the Knicks play Thursday, the Just Nicking It show with me, Tsunami, if she's available, Stafford Don, Jerrell, and whoever else wants to join us. That'll be Friday night at 9 p.m. I appreciate you all. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Hit the notification button so you'll be notified anytime I go live. I just want to give a last call to the chat, and then I'm going to play Jay Boogie's song, All Eyes on Us, as we out of here. Kerry Cox, Shy Legacy, Jerrell, David L, Jerrell D. MacGyver, Ashley Inc., Jeff Clafter, It's Me, Quiet Money, I appreciate you. Kevin Went, appreciate you. Keyshawn, Parrish, Duggar, I do think Kuzma is good. He's just not a number one. I don't think you're going to get anybody in the entire NBA to agree that Kuzma is a number one. He's not. He's going to help us. I'm not saying that, but he's not making us a championship contender. Pudge Nice, I appreciate you. Building Blocks, Paris Doug, I appreciate you. Keyshawn, Cormega, Ajay, It's Me. I may go over some of you twice because, you know, my short-term memory is not always there. Shy Powers, I appreciate you. Ashley E1, West Coast, David L, Jerrell D. MacGyver, Jay Boogie was in the building. All right. I may have missed some people, but it's not because I don't appreciate you. Deron Wayne, Jeff Clafter, of course. Sean Kearns, Tim Smith. I appreciate you. All right. Appreciate all of you. And now we're going to get out of here. Let's stay tuned. Stay tuned. Big win last night.
New York, orange and blue, tried and true, we the Knicks. New York, orange and blue, tried and true, we the Knicks.
New York, we still some Knickerbockers. Whole world shockers, all eyes on us. Coming in like Willis Reed. Y'all gon' see all eyes on us. New York. All eyes on us, all eyes on us. Coming in like Willis Reed. Y'all gon' see all eyes on us. We still some Knickerbockers. Whole world shockers, all eyes on us.
What Leon Rose did, no spite of the future set for the young kids. Let off, this a straight aim. I wish the worst in the best way for Danny Ainge. You wanna rob us for our draft picks? Strip us down, take the logo off New York Knicks. I guess by now you don't feel the shine. Them ain't trades we pulling up, them quitting grinds. Let me give you a little history. Us New Yorkers reacting, man, you quickly. Why you think we got the media watching? Fast break through the legs, here come that Obi Toppin. Straight fashion, we got the best clothes. When you in shape, you take your shirt off like Derrick Rose. All you used to be Knick fans, go ahead and switch. This that block nest mustard floor, I'm Money Mitch. Like please Tom, no time to play. I walk in the garden with a pea coat like I'm Fournier. A Knick jersey, some Levi's, some butter Timbs. This ain't a loop, this a alley-oop, the Jerrell Sims. Keep it real, however, we got a different style. I call Deuce for the pressure, he give me 8 miles. Famous line for the dice game. What the bet is? I raise it up for the cam and call it reddish. You read the Bible and know the Quran. Just live your dreams every day, make the team like Quan. Catch the youth before they hit their prime. Work hard, get rewarded, come on Hartenstein. I'm talking to all the East guards. I brought Jalen from the West, now he's an East guard. The same number 11, you know the rod strict. Now you playing against a squad with a baby pick. Look at Julius right now, he know it's game time. That off-season lose weight pivot baseline. That big bucket being made when it's crunch time. That jab step left hand in your face time. I know Drake represent, you see the 6 hard. But turn it upside right, you see that's not a guard. This time around for the season, I'm making prop bets. I need 26 mil off that Tyler check. The truth is you gotta be a little tougher. Every time we play Miami, I gotta deal with Jimmy Butler. MIP all-star play, I gotta have it. Pretty boy, young Key Sweat, Broadway Barry. I know we got a lot of haters. I know we got a lot of doubters. But one thing for sure, us is that orange and blue, we gon' always stick together. It's us against the world.
All eyes on us, coming in like Willis Reed. Y'all gon' see all eyes on us. We still some Knickerbockers. Whole world shockers, all eyes on us.